Well, I'm asking this, right, because if I ask it, that's good, they say afterwards when I compare it, A to mine, or B to Tom's. They tell me 7, 8 more. Well, if you're in me, kiss my ass.
Okay, we're going to call this meeting to order. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Thanks for coming out. Public comments. I have 2 public comments in front of me. First, sure.
In regards to the program review showcase last Friday, I'd like to express my gratitude once again to the presenters and the attendees at the event. The presenters did a fantastic job in informing us and educating us about their individual programs. I know I learned a lot going to those events, and other faculty shared their comments with me as well, and they learned a lot. However, what I wanted to do was I wanted to voice my concern and disappointment at the non-attendance of any of the Board of Trustees members, the President, and Executive VP. The program review showcase was originally started several years ago because it was a way for the college community to come together and celebrate what we actually do on this college, which is to promote, foster learning, and share the success of our students. In the midst of a realignment process, this would have been a perfect opportunity to become more familiarized with the programs that were presented. The faculty presenters, I know, worked diligently to prepare, and we had long discussions in our outcomes and assessment committees in terms of planning for the event. All we would expect is the administrative support that the faculty presenters deserve on that day. I will say that Dr. Neary and Amanda Phillips were present, and we appreciate that very, very much. So thank you.
Thank you, Bert. Judith Cook.
Well, this week, May 4th through 8th, is Teacher Appreciation Week. And as a member of the public community, I'd like to also mention that today, as well as Cinco de Mayo, today is National Teacher Appreciation Day. So as a member of the community, I'd like to thank all the faculty here at College of the Desert for the great job that they do, and they are appreciated.
Thank you. Okay. Are there any other public comments? Approval of agenda. I need to move item 5E down to discussion items 7. Cheryl, the blue highlighted, were those were added already. I need to note those. Yeah, so we're also going to add the UCAN campaign to item 6 and the IEPI to item 6 under informational. Any objections to approving the agenda as modified? Okay, without hearing any objections, the agenda is approved. Approval of minutes. Any objection to approving the minutes as sent out? Without hearing any objections, the minutes are approved. Action items, consent. Carl?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to pass the consent agenda.
Do I have a second? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
All opposed by saying no? Motion carries. Emeritus nominations. We have, we need a motion to approve our 4 candidates for emeritus.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Second.
Carol Lesquade, Paul Mag, Doug McIntyre, and Thomas Gilman. Any discussion? Certainly, each of these individuals, they put a smile on my face, and what they've done for this college is great.
Good. I'd just like to mention the date of the Emeritus Recognition Ceremony and make sure everybody knows about that. And also 10 years happening on that date, which I can't remember right now.
It's the 8th. 5
It's Friday.
So it's going to be this Friday at 5 o'clock.
And we're the...
In the hall, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Emeritus and tenure is this Friday, 5 o'clock at the hall. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
And opposed by no? All right, motion carried. Resolution 1.127, faculty professional development. We're in our 3rd reading. I'd like to take a vote. So if we could have a motion for that.
I move that we approve the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion. What's the feedback?
The feedback from HSUCE was that they could not approve the motion because they feared that the pathways to have such a motion was not followed properly, so the majority felt that they could not support that motion this time.
Okay, and what were they talking about specifically?
They felt that they would have been able to get behind a resolution that had come from within the committee itself.
Though the bylaws do say can come from exec.
They did not feel that it was appropriate to, at this time, to vote to support something.
Okay,
That they had wished it had come from faculty development.
from faculty, gotcha. Okay, thank you. Other comments?
The Division of Arts and Media wanted it noted what the breakdown in terms of the ayes and nays and abstains were.
Very good. Oh, I'm sorry. I interpreted that wrong. I thought you meant of our current vote. You're saying of your vote. No, please do.
Of the division vote?
Sure.
Yes.
Go
There
ahead.
were 4 ayes, 1 nay, and 1 abstention.
Okay, very good. Cheryl, you got that? Thank you. Jack?
Communication voted, everyone agreed that professional development should remain in the Senate control, 12 ayes and 1 no.
Okay. Any other discussion before we call for the vote? Okay, so the motion is to approve the resolution. All in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed by saying no,
No.
and abstained? Okay, motion passed. Resolution 5.6, assessment score 5-year limit. I need a motion on that?
Make a motion on resolution 5.6, assessment score 5-year limit.
To approve or not approve?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I rescind my.
I make a motion to approve it.
Okay, motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, very good. Discussion.
Applied Science and Business felt that the Educational Policy Committee had thoroughly discussed this item and researched it, and we defer to their expertise and recommendation, and therefore I'm voting yes on behalf of Applied Science and Business.
For the student representative for our student senate, we agreed for the senate to pass this as well.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Jack?
Everyone agreed to the silver vote.
I'll call for the vote. All in favor of approving Resolution 5.6, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed by saying no. Very good, motion passed. Acknowledgements. You know, it's a tough job serving, you know, I mean, there's so many places that as faculty we serve, all right? And this is one opportunity. And there's a couple of us transitioning out, and we just want to say thank you to those people because it's a lot of work that they put into it, and they, you know, they bring themselves, they bring their information, their perspective, their creativity, their energy, and it's much appreciated. We have just a small token for those. And I just want to recognize them. First, Lisa Socio. Lisa, did you want to say anything?
No, I didn't know this would be happening, so thank you.
We have Donna Green. Speech. We have Mr. Allenbard.
No, I appreciate it very much. Unexpected, but very welcome. Thank you.
I want to give a special thank you to the Alumni Association who funded our awards, the plaques, the little gift card, and they made that available to us. And Tim, I would also thank you so much for your service.
Yeah, just thank you so much for the wonderful opportunity. Right now, we're in the process of transitioning as well in the Student Senate, so we'll definitely, for the upcoming president, we'll definitely tell you who the new student representative for the faculty will be. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, well, we didn't think it would seem right if Doug gave himself something for transition. So I happened to get that particular honor, so I dressed for the occasion. I thought Doug would wear a tie for such a special day.
I didn't know it was
one day all
dress
year,
up.
I outdressed Douglas.
I should have worn a t-shirt.
Yeah, at least you didn't wear a t-shirt. So again, Douglas has been Senate President the last 2 years. After the prior year, he snuck in as curriculum chair for a while, maybe a year or so. Douglas has had quite a eventful 2 years, to say the least. He's gone through almost a complete transitioning of executive members through people stepping down and somebody else filling those shoes. And I think we've done a very good job, and he's certainly done a great job of kind of keeping everything going well. And of course, since nobody else made a speech, I have a lot of time. No. I'm going to go ahead and present this to Doug, and then if he gets to...
You know, it's been my pleasure to serve you, and something that's been a kind of a theme of mine is I've been standing on the shoulders of giants. And there's a lot of Senate presidents here in the room today, and I want to say thank you for what you've done. Nobody knows what it's like to be in those shoes. Kelly's going to learn. You've been in those shoes, and you know the counsel and advice and just you know hearing the stories of how you did it, you know, is really appreciated. So I want to thank you guys, and it's been an honor to serve you. You're in great hands with the new team coming in, so. I'm happy about that too. So I have one more. I wanted to give a little something to Cheryl.
She's not ready.
No. That's a good point. No, Cheryl's not leaving. But I don't know how past presidents did it without a Cheryl, but I know I could not have. So she's just been, you know, instrumental.
I actually want to say something. I want to say thank you. It's been great working with Douglas, like said, and Jack, and all the reps, and also the faculty. I've enjoyed it, and like I'm trying to say, I'm glad you don't run for my emails on hiring committees and things like that. I really appreciate it, because I know there's a lot more coming in the pipeline. It's exciting. Anyway, thank you very much.
All right.
Under informational items, we have Mr. Hummer from the Foundation about the You Can campaign.
Okay. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jim Hummer. I'm the Executive Director of the Foundation. I know some of you, I don't know all of you. I'm hoping one of my goals is to spend more time this next year getting to know all of you and opening lines of communication with all the faculty and staff. You've probably seen my staff, Peter and Jan, running around in little trams, taking people around campus. So to be just reminded me, we had 450 people from off campus tour this campus. I can guarantee you that every one of those individuals after the tour is over walk away impressed. I can remember 3 years ago when I came to the executive director, what the reaction I got in the public was, oh yeah, there's the college. That's where the street fair is. But nobody knew what the college did. These people now are not only getting to know what they are by seeing it, they are now opening their pocketbooks to give money to the college. So I wanted to talk about our next campaign. You probably remember last year we did a 30-30 campaign, which was our 30th year as a foundation, celebrating it. We did something crazy, which was raise $3 million in 30 days, actually $3.5 million, all of which is set aside for the college use in different programs and get a PRU process, etc. Let me tell you about the next one. We're changing it up a bit. We're trying to go directly to the community, and we'll have these brochures handed out in bits. It's the You Can campaign. So what it amounts to is our campaign goal, see there, is $2.4 million. We're going to be we're rolling it out very slowly this summer, and we're going to be moving into the fall. Now, what is the campaign goals? It's to support priority strategies for student success, raise awareness, understanding of the challenges and potential solutions for education here at the college. To engage new audiences, we're going to reach out to new areas, and then also to be a catalyst to change lives. Now, what are the initiatives? We've built these initiatives kind of generally. We're really asking for unrestricted money. We know your priorities and programs change, so we're trying to get a pot of money there. So, but in particular, the way in which we're talking about it to the community is there are certain financial barriers to people getting education. So we're going to be raising money for scholarships, for book vouchers, for childcare, for technology, and transportation. That's one pot that we're looking to raise. Academic initiatives. We're looking to raise money for tutoring, the skills center, boot camp, and high school outreach. We want to see that, in fact, we have monies available should programs be developed for high school outreach so that kids are prepared when they get here. Finally, one that's, I've already talked to Kelly and Doug about this, is a one-stop support center for internships, on-campus jobs, and job placement services. Part of our goal, as you know, is to get these kids jobs and trying to create one of those. So I'm going to be calling on you guys to help make that happen. We're the ones that raise the money. You're the ones that have the hard job. You got to teach these kids. We want to provide the money so that basically we can get them out there into the community to be active leadership role in the community leaders. There's a campaign brochure, and as you can see, you can, or who can, is the first question. We're going to ask people, and as you open it, you can. And as Kippy hands it out, you'll see that it unravels, and it goes to our typical kind of thing of telling stories. This next year, one of the things we want to do is tell some of the stories about the faculty. We've only kind of done smidgens of it. When we're talking about our alumni and their successes and where they are in the community, you know, people like anywhere from Carson Daly to people who are nurses or whatever. So we tell stories about our alumni and our students. This next year, I'd like to focus in on the talents of the faculty. So I'm going to be calling on the faculty senate and whoever the leadership is. I'm always a little unclear of this, to help nominate certain faculty that we put into the desert sun on our typical Sunday articles. We need to highlight your talents to show the type of talents that are here at college. So that's the brochure that we have at the campaign, donor card that will be going out. We're going to have a thank you card, smile. You made a life-changing difference to students at the College of the Desert. Thank you. We'll be having our ads again that will be running in the weather page. We have found by replacement of certain ads, we get great response. The weather page is incredible. You type a response, everybody checks the weather, right? So we get responses off the weather page, what we call pencil ads, that are just amazing. We also have the Desert Sun articles. We'll be putting things up on Facebook. We want to get into digital and also videos that we send out, sponsored stories, digital ads and video. We'll be putting up on the web page, so that in fact the web page will be consistently updated about stories of not only students, also faculty. There again, you've got the donation page that's going to be on the web page where people can get on digitally and make a donation, which is now starting to pick up quite a bit. This is, again, Facebook, where we're going to try to increase our digital presence. And it's part of the new audience that, in fact, I want to focus on. As you know, most of our donors are a little older, probably my age, old dinosaurs. I would like to start getting philanthropy ingrained in younger individuals, the 30 to 50-year-olds, so that, in fact, they don't have to make big donations, but we want to get them in the family. We want them to continue to grow, to be part of the family. So, additionally, what are we going to do? We're in discussions right now with television, different television programs to try to do a co-sponsorship called Changing Life Moments. So on the news, there'll be your once a week, twice a week, your Changing Life moment, which will be changing somebody's life at the College of the Desert. Social media we're going to focus on, special events, really hit a hard-in year-end appeal. We want to do alumni outreach. This again is where cooperation with you really is important, because you know people that you have had that are alumni that are out in the community that we need to tell their story. Targeted outreach, we're going to try to get some new areas in particular businesses, and then we're going to go on a speaking tour. I guess it's the rubber chicken luncheon kind of a thing, where we're going to have a prepared video that we can go on out and show to community organizations. Okay, what's our timeline? Now, back in 2014, while we were landing up doing our 30-30 campaign, we had to start thinking about the next one, and that's when student success initiatives became big in college. So we started planning it then. Around campus, you'd start seeing UCAN banners. That was kind of the start of the rollout. Now, 2015, we're doing the slow rollout now. We'll pick up in the fall, and all through 2016, where the campaign timeline is. That is pretty much a summary of it. Please take this. Feel free at any point in time, any ideas you may have, email Kippy over here, my executive assistant, who's really the brains behind the operation. I should tell you where I go next. But I feel free to email Kippy, myself, any ideas, any thoughts. We've got thick skin. Our job again is to support you. So keeping the dialogue going, keeping it open. Hopefully I'll be back next year when we start up again. We can have discussions about this. But we're here, the foundation in that little house. Our job is to raise money to make you guys successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you for the work of the foundation. You have a lot of dedicated people over there put in a ton of work for us, and we appreciate it.
We will continue.
Next item on the agenda is the tech visit, which is coming up on May 14th. Is this the survey, Cheryl? Yes. Okay. So, on what the tech visit, we had a conference call with the State Academic Senate President and the person who's going to be coming out from the CCLC. And what's going to happen is from about 12 noon to 3, we're going to meet here. It may go a little longer than that. What they've requested is that we have an open session with all constituents of the college, and that'll go on for 1 to 2 hours. It'll be a presentation on participatory governance. It'll also be some illustrations, examples, what they've seen as key touch points that tend to hit home with a lot of colleges. At that point, they've asked to break us out into 2 meetings, administration only, and the CCLC rep will go into that meeting, and then faculty only. And most likely the faculty will stay in this room and they'll have a breakout session there. At that point, they will give a written report, probably a month later, and some recommendations. I'm not sure exactly what would be in that report. Now, we're going to send out a survey that they sent to us just earlier. We'll send this out to faculty probably this afternoon or first thing tomorrow morning. I was interviewing for a spot one time. I remember my first interview, I was all ready. It was an automotive spot. I was talking about oxygen sensors and everything was great and they liked me, so I went on to a second interview, right? Well, at the second interview, I thought, okay, this is the second interview, they'll ask me other stuff. Well, it was actually a different company and they asked me the same stuff and I wasn't prepared. And so this is kind of that same thing. You're going to see these questions up here and they'll be sent to each of you. It's SurveyMonkey, it's anonymous, but don't take it from the perspective that I've already shared, that I've already given it, whether it was in the climate survey or something with a reorg. I want you to blank slate this, and I want you to start from ground zero again, and I want you to provide input to these questions as if that visiting team has nothing. Does that make sense? Don't assume they have anything. Dr. Kinnaman and I are still working on a list of items to send them that will help give them some other flavor, but we want your input, each individual's input. I'm going to be sending this just to faculty because that's our purview, and then Dr. Kinnaman will be sending it out to the other areas. So, questions? I mean from our group because they can't talk, sorry. I keep talking to them. But any questions from our group? Okay. Next item. Dr. Martinez, if you could come on up. I've asked Dr. Martinez to join us and give us a brief thumbnail of the IEPI.
Would you like me to use the microphone?
Yeah, why don't you, that would be great, because then we can all hear it.
So the new initiative the state has undertaken is the Institutional Effectiveness Partnership Initiative, IEPI. They're asking each college in the state community college in the state, to set goals and to then work towards those goals. What you see on the screen right now is an overall timeline for the IEPI. That timeline extends through, I can't say it very well, but the last flag on the right says May 30, 2016. There are several, thank you. There are several goals that each of the colleges will need to set. And given the timeline, there were 4 goals that the group said the community colleges need to decide by June 15, 2015. Can you pull up that other document, please? Thank you. There it is. There it is. Thank you. The measures that each college is asked to engage are the scorecard measures. Completion, which degree and certificate completion, and transfer prepared, remedial progress rate, including the career technical completion rate. That's the completion rate of degrees and certificates. And I think, and successful course completion, which is the annual percentage of students who are in a grade of C or better. If you can keep on scrolling, there are a few fiscal measures as well, including salary and benefits, number of full-time equivalent students, annual operating excess or efficiency, fund balance, cash balance, and audit findings. And I believe there's one more, I don't think it's in this document. The other one is a status of the current accreditation status for the college. All of those goals, every community college needs to set goals for. some are easier than others. For instance, reporting the accreditation status is, I mean, it's not really a goal. This is what it is, what it currently is. The goal for the audit findings is hopefully what do we call it? I think they call it an unqualified audit. Does that ring a bell? People, basically, it's one that here's what the audit findings are and everything's fine. They just want to know what that is. Okay. So we need to set all of these goals. But by June 15 of 2015, which is a very short time, I attended these workshops were put together in spring of 2015, and I believe I attended the first one they offered, which was on March 17, 2015. There were 4 goals that they asked us to ask every community college to set by June 15, 2015. The accreditation status, the audit findings, I think it was, I'm sorry, I'm looking on the phone for clarification, so I could have the correct wording. Fund balance, which is the percent of unrestricted general fund balance compared to overall expenditures. And then finally, the successful course completion goal. Now, in terms of the accreditation status and the audit findings, it seemed pretty straightforward, at least in my opinion. I didn't know if the fund balance question, that is the percentage of unrestricted to overall expenditures, was something that would be something that needs, what kind of dialogue might go around that particular one. But I did think that successful course completion one would be a little bit of a challenge in terms of the discussion and the short timeline. Dr. Neri and Doug Redmond have discussed this because when I came back from that meeting, I sent some emails out and we talked about it at CPC. And if I'm reflecting the conversation correctly, please instruct me if I'm not. The conversation centered around 2 options. One being we should set our successful course completion similar or the same as the state average, or we set it the same as COD's average over the last 5 years. Both measures are over the last 5 years. Because the COD average is slightly higher than the state average, I thought given those 2 options, that's the one that we should set forward. And so I believe.
No, and that's great. And thank you very much. If you could just hang out in case there's questions, because you can probably answer them. I can. It was a tight timeline. I had my research department look at it also, and there was a lot of different things that came back. We had not picked a number before at the college. There's a lot of challenges we're facing right now. Deans transitioning, so on and so forth. So it's really tough to pin down exactly what do we want this number to. So my recommendation is we go with the College of the Desert average. It could drop, it could go up, but I think that's a realistic number to pick, especially considering where we are and what we're trying to figure out and deal with right now. So there wasn't a lot of time to deal with this, to bring it out, to get the discussion. And as I tried to get back some research that was definitive, there was a little bit of ambiguity around the number too, so kind of tough to define. So unless there's any objections, we'd like to move forward with that College of the Desert student success number for now. When is our point? How are they going to, what's the accountability and what's the flexibility on that number?
I didn't hear what you asked for. Flexibility.
Accountability and flexibility. So
on the number?
Yeah.
According to the workshop I attended, and I also have a website with some FAQs on it. At this point, there appears to be no negative repercussions based on what that particular number is. I think, however, that the timeline to set the goal, June 15, is firm.
Right.
And it could affect funding for other projects.
And Dr. Neary, do you have anything to add to that?
And just to give you an indication, I just came from the state chancellor's office, and they're coming down hard on a lot of different things that we're going to have to work through in terms of the Senate. But in this case, when we were asking the chancellor's office, this is a larger institutional discussion. Their goal is for us to set a higher rate, and a lot of the colleges who were present said we can't possibly set a higher rate without having a larger institutional discussion. So I did share with the chancellor's office that one approach are the averages, as it was mentioned to me from research. And from what I understand at this point, other than the hard timeline, there is not necessarily any consequences at this point in time, but it will later be tied to categorical funding, including your triple SB and student equity and so forth. But a lot of us share the same complaints that they came with us with a strict timeline. They wanted to impose consequences on this, so the only one that I am aware of, similar to Dr. Martinez, is that we have to submit a number, and the number, and we were saying we can't even submit, in all fairness, a number that is even remotely 1% higher, because we have not had those discussions.
Right.
So that's the best we have at this point in time.
Isn't the chancellor's office requiring all colleges to be above average?
I have not asked them, but I would think so. Any other discussion?
So once we set the goal, should we expect us to increase that number every so often?
Well, the legislation says that we're supposed to set, every community college is supposed to set a, quote, challenging and measurable goals.
Let me answer it this way. You can miss the number and explain why.
No, that's not my question. My question is, we meet the goal that we set, are we then expected within 3 years or 5 years to raise it that goal? Well, now you've done 60%, you want us to be at 7%.
I don't know if that was covered. I didn't see that in what they said they were going to do at that point.
One of the conversations, did you want to respond to that, or another question?
No, I was just saying, isn't the challenge really how we're going to attain that number? It's not so much setting the number, that's one thing, but isn't it also how we're going to attain the number? We have to set those too.
And that's where we need the institutional discussion that there isn't time for right now.
Right.
And as Dr. Neary pointed out, that a lot of colleges are talking about. Right. But did they say they're going to revisit in 3 years, 5 years, look for a higher goal? To address this question?
I haven't seen that. The impression I got was that this was an annual check. And certainly, we can.
They were a little vague. I didn't see anything clear.
I didn't see anything specific. No.
Jack,
Is this a comparative study? In so much as we're being compared to every other college in the state?
I think we're being compared to our own past performance.
So this is a study for our benefit, but not necessarily a comparative study, because it strikes me as strange that we don't know what number we're going to use. If I were to use two numbers in this case, I would definitely put the state number and our number here and say, well, yeah, we're above the average. So we're talking about us here, not other people using different criteria for their studies. That competition has nothing to do with it.
I think it's just as Dr. Hall said, it's us and us. And I think that the conversation is key to this process. And I think that's really the key to the process, not when we attain a number, so that it's the discussion that helps us to get there.
And unfortunately, we're in a position where you need to put a number down, and it's got to go before the board and such, before June 15th, but there's no time for the discussion. That'll be a continuing thing, that the Senate can take up.
And just to clarify, just so we're clear, so June 15 is for us for every college to set those 4 goals. But come in the next academic year, we have to engage the rest of the measures.
There are other measures too.
Right.
So these were the ones they just put that time in. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Thank you. Curriculum committee review of course leave. Did you just want to give a quick blurb on that?
Well, just following this meeting, I don't really know Annabelle would be the one who could say something about, of course, she's probably seen.
Well, she's
some
going
of the
to
stuff.
after, yeah.
Yeah, so we have plenty of time to do that later.
Very good. Okay. Did you send out the new calendars already? Okay, the calendars for next year, Senate meetings have been sent out. Some of the academic unit reps, we still need appointments. Flex workshops, what was I supposed to say about that?
Well, Kelly's point that there's going to be a lot of Senate-related workshops.
Thank you. Yeah. And then September 29th, that is our, refresh my memory there too.
So that's just this Tuesday, so
thank
and so
you.
we're going to do an orientation for new and incoming reps and senators, just roles and responsibilities, so just some training on that Tuesday.
Excellent. Thank you. Discussion items, vote of no confidence process. So at 9 o'clock this morning, a number of us were called into a meeting with the president, and then about 12:45, this email was sent out. So I'm going to read the email to you. This is from Dr. Kinnaman, and I believe it was sent out to everybody at 12:45. You may have read it, you may not have. Dear colleagues, in recent months, with input and feedback from faculty and staff, we've been working on a number of important organizational strategies and changes designed to strengthen our organization to support student learning and success. Open dialogue and collaboration are a valued part of the process. I sincerely appreciate the input and feedback we have received from faculty and staff. Recently, 2 forums were conducted, and I shared with you that we will slow down the process of realignment and will resume our discussions in the fall. I look forward to continuing to work in a collaborative and inclusive process that results in structure that best serves our students. 2 years ago, we implemented phase 1 of a realignment to address recommendations by the FCMAT team and the California Community College Chancellor's Office. In addition, we integrated the Vice President of Student Affairs and the Vice President of Academic Affairs positions and created an Executive Vice President position. The integration was appropriate at the time and resulted in some positive results. However, in the past 3 years, we've experienced expanded services and course offerings at Indio, Mechathermal, and with our high school districts. Our enrollment has increased, and targeted course offerings during winter intersession significantly reduced many of the bottlenecks our students faced. We have hired a significant number of faculty and staff. The College Foundation has effectively raised resources to support the academic programs, student scholarships, and student-related needs. In fact, the foundation is so successful it's now in the top 10% of the community college foundations nationally. Bottom line, the college is in a different place than it was 2 years ago, and we must respond accordingly. College of the Desert will continue to be the educational choice for the majority of the Coachella Valley residents. The college has a rich history of serving the community. As we look forward to the future, it's imperative that we're positioned to address its changing needs. Working with our educational partners, we can increase the number of college-ready students, provide greater baccalaureate opportunities and more career technical education programs. I, as your president, am committed to continue our dialogue and consideration of future organizational change and realignment to support student success. Anna Davies, Executive Vice President, has notified me that she has reflected on the recent feedback and realignment. Based on her reflection, it's clear that the college is requesting further discussion on the realignment, and she has offered a path forward as we structure the administrative team. I appreciate her professionalism and commitment to advancing student success at the college. As part of the realignment transition, I am pleased to share a number of important changes to help us continue to meet the educational needs and plan for the future, including the following. Return to a model of Vice President over Student Services area and Vice President over Instructional area. Recruitment for these positions will occur immediately, and we will work with constituency leaders to determine the hiring committee and timelines. The college deans will report directly to the college president until the positions are filled. Executive Vice President Anna Davies is now assigned to the Office of the President in a staff position. There have been many opportunities for Anna, and I appreciate her commitment, professionalism, and efforts related to student success at our college. In this new role, she will devise on the development planning and applicable partnerships for the following: College of the Desert University Center, College of the Desert Palm Spring Library West Valley Campus, Mechathermal Campus Program Review in agricultural-related fields, Indio Campus Expansion. Sherry Jones, Interim Dean, School of Communications and Humanities, has accepted a one-year contract renewal, the maximum allowed by the California Community College Chancellor's Office, and will continue her current role through June 30th, 2016. Recruitment for the permanent dean will begin during the fall semester. Dr. Jim Berg, Dean of School of Arts and Sciences, has rescinded his previous request to begin a teaching assignment beginning the fall 2015 semester. I am pleased he will remain with us in his current role through June 30th, 2017. Dr. Berg will also assume responsibilities assisting me with the West Valley campus in Palm Springs. Discussion regarding the size of the school and programs will continue in the fall to determine how to reduce the size of the school, align programs, and identify appropriate staff. Leslie Young, Dean School of Health Sciences and Education, will continue as Dean of the school through June 30th, 2017. I am pleased that she will continue to provide leadership over this area and appreciate her willingness to take on additional responsibilities this past year, including disabled student services, disabled student programs and services, international student programs, mini core veterans program. Her positive contributions are commendable. The recruitment to fulfill the vacant DSPS director position will begin immediately under her supervision. The International Student Corps Veterans programs are reassigned to Dean of Student Success and Student Learning effective July 1, 2015. Scott Cooper, the Dean of Student Success and Learning, will continue his current role, overseeing student life, student services, special programs, EOPS, CARE, CalWorks, and TRIO. His role will now also include the International Students, Mini Corps Veterans Programs, recruitments for the I'll have to read up here, sorry. Recruitment for the Director of Educational Services is currently open and will continue. John Jaramillo, Dean of School of Applied Sciences and Business, has accepted an exciting opportunity at Saddleback College starting May 17th. I'm confident we share the feelings regarding this bittersweet announcement as we wish John well in his new position while expressing appreciation for his many contributions to College of the Desert and Coachella Valley. However, I know that John will be an integral part of the Saddleback team. We will begin an immediate internal solicitation of interest to the entire college community to identify individuals interested in serving as an interim dean role through December 2015. Recruitment for a permanent dean will commence during the summer with interviews during the fall semester. I want to thank you in advance for your support as we move forward, as we continue our dialogue regarding potential organizational changes and realignment to support student success. I will keep you informed of the progress. If you have any questions, please contact my office or me directly. Callie, you were at our 9 o'clock meeting. Is there anything you'd like to, any thoughts you'd like to share or add at this time?
No, I have some notes here, just with, dates and things if there are questions, but I felt very encouraged. I felt that Dr. Kinnaman demonstrated a willingness to listen to concerns that had been expressed and address those concerns in a way that was respectful of everyone involved and provided at least a start to remedying some of the major concerns. So I appreciated very much the work that went into coming up with these ideas.
Thank you. Yeah, I was impressed also with with the action he took. I think there are some, we can each map out our ideal situation and how we would do things. However, I think this was a wise and thoughtful plan at this point in time. And there was definitely an openness to take a look at the chair positions and see how those could be used as a transition into leadership, into administration, and also working more closely to keep the pulse of what's going on.
I would say that Douglas and I, Lauro Jimenez, Denise Diamond, David Bayshore were invited this morning. I believe that's, so there was representatives from all those groups, and everyone had ample opportunity to ask questions and provide input and get clarification. So he did bring people, from all those different areas into the discussions.
We know a little more than you do. You may not have read the email yet. We were in about an hour meeting with him. If there's any questions I can answer at this time, I can't speak for Dr. Kinman, but if it's something we discussed in the meeting, I might be able to share with you. Dr. Berg, retreating the faculty is off the table, as he won't be doing that, so that's a non-issue at this point. However, the policy for administrative retreat does need to be dealt with, and I'm sure that'll be taken up in the next year with the academic senate. Questions, thoughts? Yes.
The chairs of the School of Arts and Sciences were also in a meeting with President Kennedy for this one, and basically just to tell us about Dr. retreating back into administration, and just getting our thoughts on everything. And we expressed it as chairs that we thought it was a good idea that you talk to us about this. We felt that finally they were listening to us as faculty, and we encouraged him to have more discussions with the chairs and trying to, especially with the realignment. He seemed very, almost like this is what he wanted to do. The realignment's not on the table. This is still a work in progress. We're coming back in the fall. In 6 to 9 months, he was staying and some of the stuff and start getting done stuff. So definitely in the fall, come back with ideas, whether it's from the chair level, from the faculty level on, as well as realignment.
Yeah, two things he expressed is he wants to have a more active role with the deans and chairs in his upcoming, and also, we all realize the school that Dr. Berg is dean of now. It probably is a little too big for one person, right?
Probably.
So he's definitely, we kind of asked him some tough questions. Well, is there a way to split that up now? What's the plan now? But his big impetus there was, I just don't want to do something right now and have faculty come back to something different and then say, you changed it without our input. So that's, from what I can understand, what held him back from not splitting up, that school now so that he can get that input.
Another point that he made and that he could probably already be thinking about is that there's going to be now a lot of hiring committees on over the summer, and he was sensitive to the fact that changes made over the summer are always a bit disconcerting because so many faculty are not here, not on campus. So he was sensitive to that, but felt that these changes were moving the school in a positive direction. And so we will be getting calls. There will be some calls going out after HR and they go through this process to put the hiring committees together. And so for the two VPs, and then eventually whenever the position for the Applied Science and Business Dean is floated to internal candidates, there'll be a process there too. I'm not sure if that's exactly the same as a hiring committee, but there'll be a process where they'll need to have volunteers to provide their input. So I hope as you make your summer plans and these requests come out for hiring committees, that you consider your availability. I know my colleague with the association is going to be involved in that conversation as far as compensation for services on those committees for people, the 10-month employees. And so she's on that end of it, but we're going to be putting out that call for these hiring committees. So if you're able to serve, I hope that you will sacrifice some of your summer and do so.
Yes.
And just to kind of dovetail that, I was on a hiring committee last summer. Just make sure if you do something like this, you write down all the hours you spend doing the evaluations of the applicants and then any meetings that you have and everything, because if you don't keep up with your hours, nobody else.
Yes, thank you. Other questions or comments? Sure.
So are these changes effective July 1, or are they effective right now?
Which changes?
Well, I mean, Anna Davies, because if she moves out of executive VP right now, we do not have a VP over instruction or student services right now. Is that?
That's my understanding, that it's effective now, and
And
that,
so there won't be anybody in those positions, and we're not going to appoint interims or going to go out and hire?
going to go out and hire, not going to appoint interims. Joel's been through this before when he had no VPs, but he felt he was in a different position because there is some more structure underneath it, and there weren't as many difficult situations going on. So he's going to pick up that load, and again, there's other people in place that were not, at that time, until we get the VPs.
Yeah, he pointed out that whenever he was the only administrator, there was the fiscal services there was no director of fiscal services, no VP of the finance VP, and that now there's a very sound team there, and also that felt that so he was doing all of this before, and he feels like he has more coverage now than he did then. So for now, those questions are going to go directly to him. And he plans to go out for these VP positions as fast as possible and put hiring committees together and fill those positions before the fall. I mean, that's his goal.
Yes.
I just want to be clear about this in terms of Dr. Berg. I'm understanding that he rescinded his resignation, and that he's going to remain as dean. And this will occur until when? Was it 2017?
His contract.
2 more years.
2 more years. And then they are going to look at that school again, because it seems to make sense to break it up at some point in some place.
So the realignment of this school will not take place until another 2 years?
No.
You will just move to another.
It's not going to happen right now, because faculty, who are a very important piece of that, are leaving for the summer, teaching summer school. So that conversation will begin when we get back next semester.
Just wanted to clear.
Yes, no, certainly.
I have a question about the building statement and deals to deal with the library services that are mentioned there for West Carroll, partnering with Palm Springs. I'd just like to know that there's been a discussion of that from the library about the services and when to include in that discussion. And I'm not sure exactly how to approach that, but
Can you make a note of that, Cheryl? I'll bring it up with Dr. Kinlan.
Yes, I didn't catch all this.
Okay, I'll talk to Dr. Kinnan about that, and yeah, my sense is he'd definitely be open to that. He wasn't necessarily drilling down too far, but he does refer that.
Right, and I think there has been a discussion with the director of the library, but the fact that been included in that, and we would like to also include.
Yeah, and I'll voice that to him, and we can talk after, I'm sure if you wanted to, yeah, however you want to handle that. I'll make sure that it's voiced. At this point, based on what happened today, I do recommend moving forward with the vote of no confidence process. I think, again, you've heard my opinion on that. So, any consensus on that? Are we good with not moving forward with the vote of no confidence at this time?
Yes, our department has already talked about that.
Okay.
There are other issues out there that we're not, I don't think we should completely take it off the table. I think we should, I think a lot of this is happening because we have discussed the idea of a vote of no confidence without going through with it. I think it's, and we have to show that we are together. I haven't heard any other response on removing all the adjunct faculty from the Academic Skills Center. I guess that's already a done deal. I don't know. I haven't heard. I don't know if any of that was discussed today.
It didn't come up today. I know there's been some discussions on that
Yeah.
and circling back to
Right,
revisit that.
so, yeah, so that's still an issue. There's still faculty that are being basically attacked by the administration, in my opinion. So, I think there's still a lot of issues out there that we still have to make sure we stay vigilant on and see how they are resolved.
And I agree, there are still issues, library, the ones you brought up. And there's not, the Senate can take up the process. I won't call it a vote of no confidence, I'll say the process, because it is a process, anytime they choose. But I think the consensus, we need to stay on those things. We need to keep working with those things. But at this time, what I'm hearing is the consensus. We don't move forward at this point. Judith?
The Division of Arts and Media unanimously voiced that they wanted to wait until after the CAP visit on May 14th, and that follow-up discussion did occur, so that kind of conversation has occurred.
Well,
within
and-
our division.
Yes, and I appreciate that. And this, again, with the changes today, it also allows for that. I think a lot of good changes is what I'm saying. And we'll see how they play out.
I'd like to take one step back in terms of the administrator right to retreat. One of the major factors that came up in terms of agreeing with the administrator right to retreat was that the board policy needs to be clearer in terms of being in compliance with the Ed Code. And there is a website that I had sent to you, forwarded to you, about the state Ed Code. And primarily, actually all of the boards of our division agreed upon the administrator right to retreat as long as the board policy follows the state educational code. And I do remember very distinctly, and that's the one that caught my eye as a member of the division, not speaking subjectively for the division, but the one thing that I noted was that it had to be agreed upon between the academic senate and the administration in terms of any kind of administrative right to retreat. And from my understanding, I don't know if I was not present at any particular meeting, but to my knowledge, that did not occur. So that was one of the issues that came up from all the members, all the full-time members within our division, that the members really wanted that clarified, that those particular items from the state educational code be made aware of to all the faculty within the college.
So there's a couple things, there were up until today 2 issues. The specifics of how it was being handled and our policy. The specifics aren't an issue right now because it's undoing. But as I said earlier, the Senate needs to take up that policy and make some changes. And that'll be up to our new president as to how she wants to channel that. But I'm sure she's going to take that up.
And can I actually add something, just a
Sure.
point of clarification? I've also read the Ed Code as regards this matter, and my interpretation is that absent a local policy, Ed Code prevails. We don't have an a local policy. And as far as the agreement, where the agreement phrase comes in is that if the Senate works with the Board of Directors to create a local policy, that local policy must receive agreement by the Senate. But since we have no local policy, what prevails is Ed Code. And Ed Code does not call for agreement by the Senate. Ed Code simply calls for the administrator meeting the minimum qualifications and the terms of the Ed Code being followed. So it is very important that we develop a local policy that the Board of Directors, the Board of Trustees is bound to seek our agreement with. And that is something that I will be taking up in the fall. Even though the immediate issue is off the table, there needs to be something on the books, so the next time this occasion occurs, we will have already spoken.
That's exactly what our division, not cross-talking, but yes, that's exactly where our division had some concerns. So thank you.
Jeff?
Yeah, there's been some damage incurred by the sort of reckless leadership that's led to this. And that damage, some of it continues. For instance, next year we will not have a degree program in computer science.
Or physics,
Or physics.
or economics.
So what do we do about it?
So we're waiting, the next step in regard to, I guess you're saying the board not approving the math course.
Yeah.
So the board will be giving a statement as to why they didn't, and then we can respond to it.
Yeah, when will that statement come?
I don't know. I'll see if I can find the answer.
Does it say something about a short period of time that they're required to give their answer in writing?
I don't know either. Let me say this, though.
Reasonable.
Reasonable. And intentionally, the law does not define reasonable. It's not intended to be a legal term.
So, Jack, I'm going to take a little responsibility here, and there were in the whole sequence of events that took place with math. Okay, there were some items I don't believe that Dr. Kinnaman was clear on, and I had some conversations with him and provided some input from the Senate side representing you guys that may have slowed down the board's response. I wanted to make sure he had all the facts, so to speak, as we understood them, and we were clear on that, because I think there was some confusion. So I have done that now, and I've let him know, here's what we want to make sure you're clear on, and then we will now wait for the board's response. So part of the slowdown could have been me stepping in, trying to clarify a couple things. But I've done that now, and it's up to them.
So, the Chancellor's office beating the drums of completion and success, and it's just sort of twisted irony.
Any other comments on our discussion item, but no comments? Okay.
And one other comment on that, there's a possibility since math 1A and 1B will not meet the CID alignment, they may drop that degree as well, starting next year. I just thought you might want to have it too.
Anything for the good of the order. Tim?
I don't think I'll have the chance to say it since I think it's the last academic senate meeting.
This is the last academic senate meeting for this semester.
I know that I thanked every one of you, but I actually would like to extend that and say that each and every one of you, even though I haven't really presented myself or maybe have talked to, that you guys have impacted me in a very positive way. And I hope to take that into the future, maybe do some student government at where I'm going. But thank you so much, even to the administration. You guys have changed just one student. I can just imagine that every one of you can change this one. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You've represented the students very well. I encourage you to go on.
One quote as well.
I'm sure I speak for anyone here. If there's anything I can do or anyone here, don't hesitate to contact us.
Thank you.
Where are you going?
To Cal State Northridge.
Congratulations.
After I pass my 2 classes.
After final exam.
Make sure to use the student representative out here. Just make sure to use them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else for the good of the order? We're adjourned.
Or else I'm going to be put, let's go here in the front so that we have to connect.